What's up guys, Jay's 2 cents here, and I need to make a video. Obviously, that's what I do. And I'm back in the studio, and I'm just like, I'm itching to build something. But I'm not gonna build a new test bench yet, even though I brought it. Ah, it's over there. I brought it to the studio, because I was like, let's build the new test bench, but there's a reason why we shouldn't build this yet, and I'll let your imagination take over there. I forgot my angle grinder so I could cut the grill to keep working on the Red Dead Redemption 2 build, but we already showed you that that motherboard doesn't even work, so although I could continue working on that build, I want to change gears a little bit. Yes, we're going to keep working on that build this week. I'm going to channel my inner Adam Savage, and I'm going to give a shot at a same-day build / mod. Today, we are going to take this Pelican type case, and we're going to turn it into a functioning gaming computer. It's either going to work or it's not. Either way, it'll happen today, and it should be entertaining because they're tough. This is the one that was actually sent to us by Electronics with Phil's 15-inch laptop in it. We have no real use for it, so I figure we'll make something out of it. You know what, guys? I got new merch. It's available now, crowdmade.com/Jay's2cents. We got zip-up hoodies, we got Tri-Blend, we got a new logo. I digress, since 2012, it's a Digress logo. You guys have been asking for that. Anyway, we got all kinds of stuff. Zip-up hoodies, beanies, polos. Don't take my word for it, because obviously I can't do this ad. So just look in the description below and you guys will find the link. Thanks. This is clearly going to be an ITX build. It's going to be an Intel system because it's the only ITX boards I have right now. Look, when you do mods and stuff like this, it's a lot less about the hardware that goes in it and more about the mod. That's why you'll see like professional case modders and stuff not use latest hardware or even the highest end hardware. It's about building the thing. This has a lot of glued in foam that I need to get out of here because it's not useful in the type of foam that it is. And it's gonna kind of suck in the sense that it's gonna leave residue that I'm then gonna have to I plan on refoaming this and putting in a different foam. I'm sure Phil's like, God, don't cut your finger off right now. Don't cut your finger off right now. Like, as much as Phil would love to capture it because of the viral nature of Jay cuts off a limb, he doesn't want to see it happen, right? Oh, shut up. My thoughts on this, clearly the ITX board is gonna go here because I have a nice smooth side here that I can cut out for the access to the IO shield. My thought was that I could mount an AIO here. And then when it closes, the tubing just kind of compresses on itself and it pushes down. And then when you open it up, it's just like bam. And then it will have an opening here for the fans. I don't have any fan grills, so that's gonna suck, but whatever. We'll make do. Fangirls. But my other thought was like, shoot, the length of the card is irrelevant. We could fit a pretty long card there if we wanted to. My concern is the height. So if this is taller, as you can see, than that bottom part of the case, I guess it could still work as long as I offset the radiator to go like here. I don't know if I'm gonna use this card. I wanna use a small card. Again, this isn't gonna be about, well, let's face it, I'll put in the highest hardware I can. We have a bunch of Kraken NZXT AIOs, and this is the X53, not the newer one that has the LCD screen on it. They didn't leave us any 240s with the LCD screen, only 280s. So I grabbed a 280 radiator to see like how much room that would take up when it folds down. But it looks to me like it would leave me plenty of space for the graphics card to be like there. Obviously we have to get everything mounted before I go mounting the cooler. So that'll be last, but I think we might be able to do the 280 rad. I don't want to put a 9900K in here. I'd put a 9700 or something like that.
It's just we never get those.
Yeah. I keep all this packing foam when we get things that have it for occasions just like this. So I'm gonna have to cut this down to size to fit in there. Yes, this will create static until the power supply and everything's hooked up to it, and it will ground everything, and then static won't be a problem. If you want to see how we proved that, there's a video where we created a bunch of static electricity and zapped all kinds of computer parts. This 3.0 right there. Oh, oh, ah! It's still working. This stuff cuts really well. This mod is coming in handy for more than one thing. I don't even think I need to put new adhesive in there because there's still so much of it. Good enough. Okay, well that just went all the way through. It's really thin plastic.
And motherboard.
Drilling the motherboard. I've already done that. But if I need to do like screw, there's this standoff, which I think is kind of nice because then suddenly it wouldn't be hitting the ground. It wouldn't be sliding around on that nut. Like I feel like I have to move quickly or I'll never get this done. Like I feel like I'm one of those shows. It's like Iron Chef, like okay, and they're like okay, 3, 2, 1, spatula's down. I wish I had the really long standoffs. Some of them, some of them are like really long. I mean, there's these, but that might be too long.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Let's see.
Hey. There's like literally no reason for it to be floating that high. But hey.
Yeah, but then it might push it up into the radiator.
Yeah.
And it definitely will eat up the height we need for this. I was like, what if I cut this down? And then put the standoffs on that and then just like two-sided tape that down. Then it would have a more solid thing to attach to. It's just like scoring acrylic and cracking that, right? Ow! Forgot those were on there. You can see the puncture holes in my pants. I was so tunnel visioned on the score, I forgot these were on there.
It's just like scoring acrylic.
Ow! Oh, I am beating the crap out of myself today. I dropped my coffee, dropped my sandwich on my lap, tried to puncture my leg right now, just punched blood into my knuckle. Oh, I felt a crack. That's not breaking.
Jeez.
So if I don't have any nuts. Shut up. I don't have any nuts that'll fit this. I was thinking if these are just like hold downs for like an Asetek AIO, right? This came off Corsair, I think. I wanted to see if that was enough to go through the board and stick through the bottom end and be held down with a nut, but it's not. So I have to drill these all the way through. Okay, so that tray is mounted down, the motherboard is mounted down, the graphics card is clicked in. I'm glad I didn't try and surface the motherboard like flush into the side, like having it push in, because then I just realized this tab for the graphics card would have interfered with the case. Now I'm probably gonna have to trim the case. This is not gonna be an airtight case or watertight. I wanna test that aspect of it. But if you look, when I close this, this is probably overhanging by like 1 millimeter, which is fine because I can actually just shave the plastic right there a little bit, but the seal will still touch. And then we have plenty of room right here for the SFX power supply. So for this, the only one I have that's still new in the box is Fractal Design's Ion SFX 650G. So it's a modular power supply, which is nice. But I'm gonna hold this in there now and see what the size is on that. And then we can start figuring out the cooler mount, because like I said, I need to clearance the cooler for when it closes, if it's gonna be mounted up here, to fit into this void. And I don't think we're gonna have any issues right there. You get all that power in a tiny little package. Story of my life, but that's okay, we'll move forward. So that'll go right there. And I think that we will have just enough clearance between the height of this and when we put the radiator in there. Because remember, we're gonna have about 25 millimeters hanging down. I'm fairly certain the rad will fit up in here, or the fans will fit up here. The rad will hang down slightly right into that void. So because we know the graphics card is committed to this position, I could take that out. The power supply can go anywhere. FreshBooks! So I don't need to cut a big hole for this. I can just mount this somewhere where it's convenient. Well, how though? I need the holes for there, right? Sorry, Josh. I'm stealing the bracket out of the Era because we think this is gonna work for what we need. You can see it's got this tab that comes up and it's got this tab that comes down. I feel like I could bend that one at a 90 and that will allow me to screw it down like that. Okay, you ready? You ready? Bend straight. And here's the crazy part. The distance between that hole and that hole is exactly the same between the distance of that hole and that hole. So they actually give me something to like line up on there. See, that hole's lined up, that hole's lined up. And then I have a piece sticking up right here that I can build a bracket for the back of the GPU. And when it goes against it, it's vertical, like vertical. It's vertical. Even if I went as far as just double-sided taping it to it. I'm not above using tape. Fine. We're fine. All right, so you know what's next. Cooler. Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's deeper than I thought it was. I wonder where they did the glue. At the very, very least, what this thing offers me is a template. It's just tape it in there, and then that'll give me an idea of like where it's gonna close. Holy crap. There's a lot of room for the 240, but that clears for sure.
Hey.
The graphics card closed in there. It didn't hurt it like I thought it would. So once I took the foam out, boop. Why is this going so well? You can see that we clearly are gonna go down into that void right there, and we are gonna have way more depth clearance than I was anticipating on top of this power supply, which means what I think I'm gonna have to do next is mock that up. Once that's mocked up, I then have to make the holes for, oh, you can see right here, I'm not sure if I showed this yet. Here's the extension cable I took out of the Era. That's just a square that's designed to plug in. So I'll do is I'll cut a square in here as best I can, like vertical, and then I'll probably put the silicone sealant around it, which is black, ironically, so it'll look good on this, on the outside. That'll clear there. So all the cables will be going into one side, not like having it come out of everywhere. And then what that'll allow me to do is, based on the time, what time is it right now? 1:41, okay, it's later than I thought. Could then make this look cool. Sorry, Fractal, I mounted this down and I just realized yours is an SFX-L, which means now we got no room for the modular cables. I'm fairly certain that there's not enough room there for the cables. All right, so I took everything back out now that everything was not even mocked up, like truly mounted. We got our motherboard tray in there. We've got our bracket up here for our AIO. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make the openings that I need for access to the stuff. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take everything back out, including these things, and then I'm gonna mod this in some way. I'll figure it out. I have an idea in my head, but this is not just gonna be, hey look, Jay's plastic case. All right, so I started hammering out these hinges here. Everything is now cut out. The cuts are not as clean as I would like. It's the best I got. I've got no grill mesh material to use on here, so the radiator's going on this side. I cut out the opening here. Like 2 or 3 of the outputs for the graphics card are blocked, but that's okay. We have access to 2 DisplayPort and the USB-C on the 2080, which is what I'm gonna be putting in here. So that lines up roughly like you guys saw, so we can still access 3 of the ports that we need. But what I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready to do now the paint and stuff, because I can't leave it looking like this, especially because I have to paint. Look at all the hot glue I have holding that in, because I drilled that, or I made that hole too big. And I still have to do a round hole for the power button. Crap, but that's okay. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take off the handle, take off these hinges, because we're gonna paint all this. And I'm thinking I'm gonna use that steel paint, the metallic steel spray can stuff that we use for Mark's build. I have no idea how well paint will stick to this rubberized plastic, if at all. So I'm gonna use the big piece that I cut out here as a test with the self-etching primer, and then see if it'll scratch off. This is the real test. You ready?
Yep.
I started wondering if maybe the self-etching primer can't etch this because it's trying to etch metal. This is clearly not metal, it's a plastic. So as you guys saw, it pulled off the primer right there. You can see I sprayed over it again. See if I can pull some more primer up right here. And see right there, it's not really pulling up. Oh, there, it just pulled up some right there. But on the back side, I flipped it over and I just sprayed some black paint. and then I set it out in the sun. It's actually still pretty warm right now. And it hasn't been sitting there longer than maybe 15 minutes. But if we take the paint, or the tape, we do the same thing over the paint, it's not pulling up. I'm thinking that the self-etching primer can't grab onto this material. It's designed for metal. I think I'm gonna continue and do the black paint because I'm still gonna have to seal it with clear. And I think I wanna use the steely colored paint. So I'm gonna do probably a light coat of the black, then a steel coat over that, or rust coat, then a steel coat. Because I do wanna like weather the corners and stuff. I wanna make this look like a metal case. So, wish me luck. Because when I said something could go wrong, really, really wrong, because that's how things go for me, I think we're at that part.
That port? We're at that port, son.
So I'm not gonna paint the plastic latches. I'm just gonna kind of scuff this up. This is mostly rubber, so I'm not gonna do anything with that. Put these back on, but as you can see, here's what the case looks like. I wanted it to look like a metal case, like a steel case. The idea is that this would be like, how can I say the term I said earlier without potentially triggering the algorithm in some angry way? The small part of an atom, football.
The small part of an atom football?
The middle of an atom.
I thought you were talking about the other term, and I was trying to think of like creative poofy device.
A creative poofy, yeah. So it's steel case, it's been carried around. I didn't do nearly enough on the back, did I? What we have to do now before we put everything back together, and I think you guys will have to agree, like the weathering spots look perfect. I used a black base coat on top of the rubber because we knew that black paint stuck, as I showed you guys already. I then did a brown coat that, this is actually the paint I got for the Red Dead Redemption 2 build because I thought it looked like an old rusty color. And so I did some, like on the corners and stuff, some spray of this. And then I did our silver paint, wherever it's at. It's a steel paint, very flaky, looks very good. It sprays super even. And then what I did is I did the hairspray technique, obviously, like we showed in the Destiny 2 build and the Star Wars build, and I then went where all the corners are and really wore it like this thing is getting tossed around, right? And it's handcuffed to someone's wrist, and it's been stolen a few times and stolen back. And then I did a clear coat on top of that. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the interior of all the foam work. And then once that's done, we'll put all the parts in. Let's see the boots, because I haven't tested that. Radiator. All right, so it's just time to assemble it now. You can see an idea of what the foam is like. It really kind of fills in that void, obviously. I'm using the Easy DIY fans that we got when we did our Amazon video. Sorry, apparently our video completely wiped out the world inventory because right after that we sort of had a global pandemic and they were never restocked. So we're using them because RGB. Oh, that's sideways. Dude, the fan is like on top of the cooler.
Oh my God.
It's not mounted down, but it closed. We are not gonna cable manage this. This is designed to look like a you-know-what, we'd already explained. So we want it to be messy. We want it to be cluttered and just wires strewn about. Now I'm using a very complicated mounting mechanism for the graphics card. Oh, jeez. If you were concerned about the two-sided tape. You got the money?
Got the goods.
You tell me. Here is the moment of truth. So we got our power plug there. Do we have motherboard lights? We do. I need to plug in my graphical cable. All right, here we go. I mean, it should have worked, right? I didn't do anything crazy to it. New CPUs. It's so silent. What I was thinking too is you could flip these down and then you can game like that. So now they're actually blowing air down onto the components. But it freaking works. And so does the LED strip in there. So I'm gonna probably set all these lights to just be red, or maybe like red flashing, flickering. But I haven't decided. So, what time is it? We got a post. It's 7:30 p.m. and we started at like what, 11:30? People I'm sure are like, that's so dumb. You just mounted it into a box. I did. That's true. That's absolutely. Let's turn this off. That's absolutely true. But what I did, if you take a look at it, obviously, is I made it themed. Look at that. Imagine you just go to your friend's house. You're like, hey, bring your computer. You're like, okay, yeah, I got that. He's like, what's that? It's my computer. All right, what do you guys think? I had fun today. I just wanted to do something. I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could come up with something in one day. It's not the best. It's missing a grill. The cuts aren't the greatest. But I think there's more that we can do with this. Like we can use our Cricut and we can stencil something on there like danger or whatever. But it works. It freaking works. I'm happy I don't have to change anything. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions on another like mod in the future, like maybe a one-day challenge like this, same day. Like I said, I kind of channeled my inner Adam Savage, and this was a lot of fun. I think it turned out well. And it's really sturdy. Nothing moves in there. Ultimate test, we're going upside down. You ready? Okay. It's like a Dairy Queen when they hand you the thing, you're like, oh, it didn't fall out. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys are feeling well. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, could you imagine, like, it just ends up perfectly up and you're just like,